Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the world of guitar gear reviews. We are taking a trip down memory lane to revisit a pedal that's been out for over 10 years. We are going to be reviewing the Zoom MS-70CDR, a versatile digital multi-effects pedal that was first released back in 2012. Now you may be wondering, is a pedal that's over 10 years old still worth buying in 2023? Let me tell you, yes, it is. And not only that, it's still the #1 selling multi-effects pedal on Amazon. Why is that? What makes this pedal stand the test of time? And why is it still used in so many pro guitarists' pedal boards in so many studios? Well, let's find out. In case you were living under a rock for the past 10 years, the Zoom MS-70CDR actually stands for chorus, delay, and reverb. Is that right? It is a multi-effects, which originally had about 86 effects, obviously in the categories of chorus, delay, and reverb. The V2 version, which is the one that I have, which came out slightly later, now has 137 effects, or variations of those three main categories. That is quite a lot for a pedal that was originally designed to be a very small enclosure, standard pedal size enclosure, with all these effects, a very small, by today's standard, but clear LCD screen, and all the parameters can be accessed directly from the pedal. So at the time, the whole point was to have a analog style enclosure with a fully digital pedal in a very sturdy but small enclosure. Some small additional features that Zoom worked hard on putting in this pedal at the time was to make it both powered by a wall plug and battery powered, so very convenient if you are gigging. And also it contains a fully chromatic tuner in there, and most exciting, stereo inputs and outs. So that is actually very, very cool. Just before we move on to some of the sound samples and also start discussing if this pedal that was actually quite revolutionary at the time is still worth it in 2023, and why the hell is it still selling so bloody well on Amazon, being a pedal that is £99, so it's not the cheapest that you can find by today's standards, but it's not expensive either. It's just in that price range, but still selling like hotcakes. Just before we answer those questions, and especially in the past months, we have seen a lot of the big multi-effects manufacturers go down the route of condensing everything in a single pedal, not having too many parameters or expression pedals, just putting it in a single pedal. And really, they're kind of replicating this. They're kind of doing exactly what this is, just with the modern technology. So it is very interesting in how it's kind of gone the whole way around. And obviously there is a demand for single pedals, multi-effects. You know, all the big ones have done it recently. So that is very interesting. And that kind of brings this one back into play, I think, because it's doing the same thing. Let me grab a guitar, plug in, and we'll go through some of the presets and see what they sound like. Like any piece of gear, I guess the 70 DCR has its pros and cons. I hope you enjoyed those sound samples. I've got to say, the chorus is very lush. The reverbs are nice. You can get loads of options. It actually is a powerful unit for, its size and its age, because you can stack up 6 of those effects in a chain. So it's not just doing one effect at the time. It's actually doing 6 of them. And depending how you put them in the effects chain, it is very, very versatile. You can get very experimental, very good ambient sounds out of it. So it is a very easy to use, creative setup for someone who wants something fairly simple, fairly straightforward, doesn't need 200 different effects, but just needs chorus, delay, and reverb with all its variations. So in total, 137, I guess, variations amongst those 3. It is interesting how by limiting the pedal to those 3 main categories, you can get loads of different sounds. One of the main features of all of these multi-effects and all these super powerful plugins or physical stomp boxes is that they have, shimmers, and they have various different funky effects that you can add to your tone. But really, those are all in some way derivatives of chorus, delay, and reverb. So they're all born from that, really. So I do find it very interesting that by simply taking those 3 blocks in a very loose way, Zoom have actually incorporated most of the things that those other companies also do, but just in a simpler, more logical way. And it is a very versatile pedal. It's a pedal that if you are in the studio and very quickly just want to put a preset on, works immediately. No need to dive through millions of menus. It's very good also if you want to use it at a gig, at a live show, band rehearsal, whatever it can be. One of the things that I found on the negative side is obviously just by its physical appearance, you may find it slightly tricky to navigate through the menus, but it is set out very logically. So I'm not one to read instructions. So I didn't read instructions at all. I just played around with it and got the hang of it. But, again, it's got a small screen. So if you are at a live gig and you need to start, for whatever reason, messing around with the menus, it's not ideal. So I would highly recommend to set up your banks, your patches before. But overall, the construction is very good. A second issue that I've actually read a lot of people complaining about on the intraweb, but personally I haven't really found too much, is sometimes, depending on your amp combination, you can hear a slight amount of hiss and a bit of noise coming from the pedal. So that is something that has been reported. I haven't really had that problem. I've used this in the studio with my Marshall, my Black Star, various combinations of amps, and I haven't really had too much noise. I mean, I guess maybe I wouldn't hear it because the Marshall is noisy but overall, I haven't had that hiss problem at all. Some of the effects can be slightly artificial sounding, so you may want to tweak the parameters in terms of the presets down a little to kind of sweeten it up. It's just very important to remember that this is not a boutique delay or reverb pedal. So you should not expect a boutique level reverb. This is a mid-priced equivalent to all of those put together. So I guess overall in 2023, is this a good investment? I think it's a very useful pedal to have in the studio live. I think if you don't want to spend too much money on a high-end kind of multi-effects, I think this does the job very, very simply. This is a very good pedal for people that, like my case, very often will still gig, record in the studio with tube amps or tube amp heads rather than the full digital kind of route. if you're not looking for amp simulations, if you're not looking for the whole ease of use of having one box do it all, but you like the tone of your tube amp head, or you like the tone of your combo, whatever you're using, then this in the effects loop will sound fantastic. It's good quality because it will last a long time. It's got a nice solid feel to it. Really, I think depending on what you need, this is a affordable option to have. You can get very, very good sounds out of it. This also, I think, answers the question on why it's still selling really well on Amazon after, 11 years or so. It's a top selling multi effects. It's going really strong. It's not slowing down at all. And, I think ultimately the consumers decide on whether something has longevity and why it has longevity. Often you get very little spikes, as I said at the beginning, because of, people like the price, etc. But then they just chuck them on the floor and ignore them. But this still today is selling very, very well. And I think it's because it's simply a good compromise for people that are gigging, working musicians, and for beginners, and for intermediates, for everyone, in terms of having a lot of tools, a lot of power, a lot of possibilities, tones in there, but in a small enclosure without spending too much money. It's selling, and it will keep selling well because it appeals to a lot of people. And it just very simply hits the spot for a lot of people. They don't need often everything. They just need 3 very versatile effects. So that's it for today's review. I hope you found it interesting. If you're in the market for something that you can put in the effects loop and not worry too much about it in your tube amp, this is a solid product. And it has its charm, I think. That's one of the things about it. But on the other side, if you have one of these, let me know. Why do you like it? Is there anything particular about it that you like? Is there anything you don't like? It'd be really interesting. I really would love you guys to write in the comments what you think, and we can have a nice discussion about it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe somewhere down there if you found this video useful. As always, keep playing the guitar, keep rocking out, be good to each other, guys. We all are in it together, and see you next time. Peace.